Hi there, I'm Danny Flexen and welcome to the latest edition of SecondsOut FLEXpectations. We're here every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. to look ahead to some of the biggest fights taking place this weekend, or that weekend, depending on which week it is. Let's get some housekeeping out of the way first, because I'm mainly going to concentrate on the Frank Warren show. BT Sport takes place on Saturday, but there are a couple of good fights taking place on the Friday, tomorrow night. In the US, you've got Ruben Villa challenging Emmanuel Navarrete, which will be a good fight, I think. But also in Dubai, MTK Global have got a show that sees Maxi Hughes with a good chance to win the WBC International Lightweight title. He's obviously coming off that great win over John O'Carroll, so we wish Maxi the very best of luck. And a good clash of unbeatens on there as well between Rohan Date and Macaulay McGowan, who, if you haven't followed him on Twitter, he's pretty hilarious. But he's also pretty handy in the ring too, so it'd be worth watching that fight there. But getting to the Frank Warren show, 3 really good fights on there for BT Sport viewers, and the headline act is LIAM WILLIAMS, awaiting that mandated WBO middleweight title shot at Demetrius Andrade. That's going to go in a short negotiation period before, if nothing's worked out, going to purse bids. But he didn't want to just wait around, Williams. He wanted to stay active, defend his British title, pick up a payday, obviously, in these COVID times. I can't blame him. And he's defending against Andrew Robinson, who was himself a mandatory contender for Williams. So a bit of a role reversal there. D'Animal, as Robinson is known. It's D''Animal, which for me is actually Danimal, but never mind. We could go on to this all day. That's what I'm like. But yeah, Andrew Robinson, incredibly excited yesterday at the press conference. Really happy to be fighting one of the best middleweights in the world for a prestigious title, the Lonsdale belt. Coming into this on good form, hasn't fought since last year, but picked up a great win out in Poland against the 41-0-1 going in Damian Jonak. Beat him on a split decision, which, given it was a Polish unbeaten fighter out in Poland, suggests he won pretty clearly. Countered effectively in that one and took a win against the odds. Williams, of course, has fought generally at a higher level. Picked up those explosive wins more recently over Mark Heffron, Kareem Mature, most recently Atlantes Fox, someone who'd taken Andrade the distance but was bullied and overpowered by Williams. Robinson's a good fighter. Even up at super middle, he was able to be competitive with the likes of Frank Buglioni way back when, but has since lost by stoppage to Mark Heffron, who was dismantled, of course, by LIAM WILLIAMS. But he's come back. He's in better form now than he was then. The only trouble he's got is that Jonak was pretty easy to work out. He was an aggressive fighter. LIAM WILLIAMS can do a bit of everything. He's poised, composed. He's powerful, sure. I still think he'd be even better down at super welterweight, but he's competing very well at middle right now. Maybe he's a happier fighter, having those extra few pounds leeway. And he's just very good technically. He's come on leaps and bounds since training at the Ingle Gym with Dominic Ingle in Sheffield. And you would expect him to, I think it'll be a tough fight. I don't think he'll blast Robinson out despite the disparity in class in kind of 2 or 3 rounds. I think Robinson's tough. I think he knows how to handle himself. I think it'll be rough, possibly messy at times. Maybe a bit like, if you remember Williams' fight with Gary Corcoran some years ago, which was pretty dirty at times. So I could see it getting rough in there. I think ultimately Williams comes out on top, maybe round 6, round 7. But yeah, I think Robinson can give a good account of himself and keep his name in the hat for future big fights. Also on the bill, we see the return of Nathan Gorman, one of the most likeable boxers probably in the world. Heavyweight, cousin, of course, of Tyson Fury. How many cousins has Fury got? We don't know. It's a number ever increasing. But Nathan Gorman, really great guy. Came up short against Daniel Dubois, but probably used the wrong tactics on the night, but still managed to land some pivotal, well, not pivotal because he lost obviously, but good shots in that fight. And he was supposed to come back earlier this year. COVID hit. The show he was going to be on was delayed, and then he was moved from one show to another in the autumn. But now we get to see him back, and he's going up against a former Dubois opponent in the Ghanaian, Richard Lartey, who came to have a real tear-up with Dubois when they fought, and buzzed him, I think it's fair to say, at one point, but was overpowered ultimately. And I think that'll be a really interesting fight because Gorman's not Dubois. He's not going to go out swinging with Lartey, I don't think. I think he'll clinically pick him apart, and I think Lartey will leave himself open for it. I don't think it will last the distance. I think it will be done by halfway. But I fancy Gorman to come through and really put his name back in the mix for domestic titles. You know, the winner of Dubois Joyce in November is likely to vacate the British and Commonwealth belts, you would think. So Gorman, assuming he gets past Lartey, will be right up there with some of the other guys, the likes of, I guess, Dave Allen, Fabio Wardley, to be challenging for those belts. So we shall see what happens in that one. And an underrated one, which I think will turn out to be the fight of the night, is JJ Metcalf defending his Commonwealth Super Welterweight title against Jack Flatley. Style-wise, I can't imagine it being anything but exciting. Jack Flatley, 6 foot tall, 3-inch height advantage, but an aggressive fighter. He's not someone who's going to stand off, pick and poke, or peck and poke, whatever the term is. I think we can say it both ways. But Jack Flatley had that. The only defeat was against Harry Scarf for the English title, but Harry Scarf's got that kind of awkward style. That was a bit of a messy one. Jack Flatley didn't give the best performance, but he was negated a bit by Scarf. That won't be the case with Metcalf. I think they'll meet head on. Metcalf, intelligent pressure fighter, good body puncher, as we saw when he stopped Jason Wellborn last year. It's just a really intriguing fight. The thing that gets me about Metcalf is strange because I saw this on BoxRec and I couldn't quite believe it. He's been a pro for 9 years now. The son, of course, of the legendary Shay Neary. But yeah, been a pro for 9 years, former ABA champion, and just 32 years old as well. I was astounded when I saw that. But he's had a couple of long breaks in his pro career so far, looking to gain some momentum after COVID kind of stymied most fighters, the boxing game in the UK as a whole. If he can do an impressive job on Flatley, then the next step is to really mix with the top fighters at super welterweight, that British title mix. You know, you've got Scott Fitzgerald, Ted Cheeseman, Anthony Fowler, who Jack Flatley was scheduled to fight before he fractured his foot recently. Those sort of guys you would expect. Sam Egginson, of course, as well, if I haven't said him already. You would expect JJ Metcalf to be right in that mix, promotional issues aside. It's really time for him to get a move on now after 9 years in the professional side of the sport. But I think if you're only gonna see one fight this weekend, make sure it's that one because I think it'll be really explosive and really entertaining. Now I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of LIAM WILLIAMS at middleweight? Is he a genuine world level contender? Has he got a really good chance against Demetrius Andrade? What are your predictions for the 3 main fights on Saturday night? Who's going to win each one and how? We might try and work up some sort of prize for someone who gets it absolutely accurate, but that means, you know, method of victory and ideally which round as well if you're predicting an early finish. Going to make it hard because I don't think we've got any easy to get prizes. So if I've got dip in my own pocket, then I'm going to make you work for it. Really appreciate your time. As always, look forward to the comments and I will see you all soon. I should say as well, I apologise for the hair today, or maybe most days, some might say. But I haven't been to the gym yet, so I haven't had a chance to, you know, wash my hair and all that sort of stuff. I'm not a girl. Can't help it, sorry. But I'll see you all soon and take care. Cheers.